Whenever I eat something, I like to load up Netflix and to watch Peep Show in the background, because it's brilliant. At this point I know the episode's off by heart, and it's just comfort viewing for me, but I swear it does make my beans taste better. But sadly, it is a show only available on Netflix for people in the UK, which is a huge shame. Which is where this video's sponsor, NordVPN, comes in. With a choice of 5,506 servers in 59 different countries, it won't just help you to evade tracking by tunneling your web traffic through another IP, but it will also let you view Peep Show on Netflix, even if you're not from the UK. Simply choose a server in a particular country and you'll gain exclusive access to content from that country. As well as this, there are security and anonymity benefits to using a VPN to browse the web. To celebrate NordVPN's birthday, if you buy a 2-year subscription from the link in this video's description before the end of February, you'll also get a mystery gift and an extra month free. Every round in Counter-Strike, many lives are lost to determine whether or not a few random boxes get blown up. For instance, why blow up these crates and not the identical ones right next to where the terrorists spawn? Sometimes a good bomb target raises more questions than answers. Why are loads of weapon crates stacked in a pile at bombsite A? I acknowledge that it's a great target to blow up, so why have a statue on bombsite B as an equally valid alternative? And if you're happy just blowing up a statue instead of a weapons cache, then why not go for this easily reachable statue of a child choking a fish instead? We need answers, and that's what map descriptions should be for. Until then, we're left guessing why terrorists insist on attacking the most difficult to reach corners of the map over and over again. And even when they're successful, they still fail, since their target doesn't even seem to take damage from the explosion. To remedy this glaring oversight, a few things have been attempted over the years. Counter-Strike source maps often had scripted events which were triggered by the bomb blast, like to have the crates break, to have fires ignite, or for toxic gas to spill out into the air to show everybody that the attack had been a success. CSGO doesn't bother with these details so much. You might think this is because nobody will be around to see the aftermath, but as a rather paranoid terrorist, and as a rather late CT, I usually am, and I'd appreciate some destruction as my body is hurled through the air by the blast. And it's not just the destruction, the map's stories have become increasingly hidden too. They used to be proudly displayed when the map had loaded in, but these days they're all but hidden from view, with the loading screen text reduced to dull map parameters that nobody reads, and community credits posted below, if we're lucky. But the stories behind these maps still exist, hidden inside CSGO's map folder in the form of text files. So let's investigate which mappers have bothered to think of exciting backstories for their maps, shall we? We'll start with how not to do it. Inferno is a classic example of a dull backstory. CTs must prevent terrorists from destroying either bomb target, while the terrorist carrying the C4 must destroy one of the bomb targets. Oh, and there are 2 bomb sites in this mission. Great. Dust 2's tries a bit harder by detailing that these are chemical weapon crates, but it's still not inspiring, is it? Let's take a look at nukes. A silent alarm has been tripped by the guard shack at the Mac nuclear power plant. The terrorists want to attack the site because security is low and because the decommissioned site still contains the spent fuel rods. Now that's more like it. There's just one small problem with this. The power plant's name is no longer Mac. It's been changed since then. Twice. This description has simply been copy-pasted from the Counter-Strike source version of the map, an era when people cared more about the backstories apparently. To give them credit, the new version does at least show a crashed truck that has ploughed through the protective fences. So we do know how they entered the level, a detail that is often missing from maps which start terrorists in a dead end somewhere, having just come to from collective amnesia or something. But the older version had a dead guy in the guard shack, which I think tells a much stronger story, even if the illusion is broken by every terrorist starting the game with 0 kills. I digress. Let's look at the other maps and see if any of them have cool backstories. The current community-made maps featured in the game contain just a list of names in their map descriptions to serve as map credits, so there's nothing to see there. This might be a requirement that Valve imposes on them, since going to the mapper's workshop page often reveals a little bit more about their creation, but still not a lot. I want to point out this abrupt ending right here. I've suffered the same bug before on my own submissions. You can type a beautiful long description about your map, but all it takes is just one update to your workshop submission for it to wipe anything beyond the first few lines if you're not careful. It's been a long time since I bothered typing up a long description on the workshop because of this, but since it's still happening with newer maps, it's apparently a bug that still hasn't been fixed. Valve, please, if you want to know the backstory to Cache, here it is. Cache is a defusal map set around Chernobyl. The terrorists want to destroy the evidence of a massive weapons cache in the shadow of Chernobyl. Well, I guess it explains the name of the map at least. Anubis has nothing. Engage is a bomb defusal map set in a German car factory. Apollo is set in a Space Center museum. Yeah, I figured. Mirage doesn't even have one. I hunted down the map's submission on Game Banana, and it's revealed that the plot of this map is that the terrorist carrying the C4 must destroy one of the explosive crate areas. Amazing. In this day and age, the story behind the map doesn't seem to be a priority. So let's travel back in time to Counter-Strike Source, which seems to be an era when mappers appear to have more imagination, or at least still bothered to bundle the original stories to the maps. Check out Assaults. The Mar Freight Company has fallen victim to a band of terrorists hell-bent on using their operation to launder money. The Harper Alliance Company is unwittingly shipping out more than they bargained for. That's how a map story should be written. It's exciting and cheesy, while still remaining short and concise. And the map plays into this too, with the correct company's name on the warehouse, crates stacked with money, and even a washing machine filled with banknotes to aid in laundering money and in making a clean getaway. In the new one, the warehouse is now owned by Parker rather than Mar, and the money has been replaced with lots and lots of weapons. So it's not the same story anymore, but it's still okay, I guess. Moving on, there's even a story that spans several maps. Cobbles explains that this is Lord William's country farmhouse. Then Chateau's story follows on from that, explaining that the terrorists had successfully blown up Cobble, and that Lord William's now in the process of rebuilding his summer chateau, the redecoration of which is something the terrorists seem keen to prevent. I'm a little bit disappointed that Piranesi isn't another Lord William-themed map. Missed out on a trick there, but it does at least come with its own backstory about the castle being open to the public as a museum, while terrorists need to prevent that by destroying one of its two main attractions. A lot better than just being generic crates, though still, no good reason for their motives is given. Even Port gets his own backstory, about it being an economically significant shipping target. See, it doesn't have to be elaborate, just something to give context to this life and death situation. Because who wants to die over a generic crate dispute? Even some of the hostage maps in Source receive some love and attention. There's something I like about militias, like how it explains the hostages have been gone for a week, and that in the terrorists briefing it gives nothing more than a visual description of the CT vehicle convoy that's coming for them. Compound's description is particularly awesome, bothering to explain who the hostages are and why they're worth kidnapping. Though I personally wouldn't trust these guys to traverse a corridor, let alone work on America's secret weapons program. So that was Counter-Strike Source. Let's go all the way back to the start with 1.6. Some, like Dust 2's description, are the exact same as they are today. Just a shame it's such a generic story, isn't it? Others, like Inferno's, are better in 1.6. Apparently there are some critical gas lines beneath this quaint little village. There's not a lot of evidence of this over on Bombsite B, but opposite A, where Graveyard is today, are several massive pipes. So how about that? Inferno actually has a story. And while it wasn't told in Counter-Strike Source, when you're near T-Spawn, in the distance is a large factory. Perhaps this is tribute to the map's original story. I've had a few people come to me over the years, unnerved by the mysterious sound on this map that you can hear just here. So this might answer that question. It's gas being pumped. There's one lovely little touch to the stories in 1.6, and that's for the mapper to leave their email here somewhere should anybody want to contact them about their map. I'm not sure what sort of messages they're expecting to get, but remember, this was an age when you submitted stuff to the internet without knowing where it would end up. Attaching your email to your creation serves kind of like a digital message in a bottle. Militia's story in 1.6 is a bit different, claiming that it's set in Cliff's compound, with Cliff clearly being a reference to one of the makers of Counter-Strike. Vertigo is apparently set on the Rizzleton Tower, though if that is a reference to anything then it's an inside joke for its mappers, since no real structure exists with that name. Although I do like the extra advice they bother to give the players. But the best two stories I found are for maps that are no longer featured in the game. This is D Survivors, and here is Oil Rigs. Remember, this was for the VIP game mode, where one person on a team would be given a pistol and told to reach the end without dying. In conclusion, the problem with Counter-Strike stories is consistency. Valve bothers telling stories for some of the missions, like the special co-op strike ones, which then makes it even more confusing when they simply don't bother for the rest. Sometimes it looks like they're teasing at some kind of massive backstory, but then it goes nowhere. They mention Overpass's mission in the initial blog post for the map way back in 2013, then totally forget about it from then on. They include the map descriptions in the map folder, but then don't show them in-game. It's a mess. Looking back through the game's past, there are flashes of creativity here and there, which sooner or later gets snuffed out when people forget to port it over to a newer version of the map or whatever. And that's a shame. So here's what I propose to Valve. You should care about the map stories again. Take the time to give each map in the game a decent backstory, because it'll only take a few minutes to do and it will have so much meme potential. The feature to display them on the loading screen is already contained within the game. Just like the feature Community Map Credits is used to initiate a series of usernames, typing rules here will force the loading screen to display the story behind the map. With just a simple adjustment, we can display the exciting backstories behind the missions again, instead of that generic rules text that nobody bothers reading anyway. And the stories don't have to end there. CSGO has already laid the foundations for better stories than its predecessors did. For a while, everybody on the same team had the same skin type, which helped explain where the mission was taking place and who was involved. The SAS models on Inferno, the elite crew on Dust, the anarchists on Office. The custom models they introduced a few years ago has detracted from this somewhat, but the thought was there. Even CSGO's trailer helped to set the scene by telling one possible story of a round played on Nuke. And this got me thinking. Team Fortress 2 did a great job of introducing its characters in the form of short, humorous videos. Why not do the same thing to Counter-Strike, but for its maps? I know they're not people, but they still have a personality, and tell stories that millions of players are able to relate to. The game has already missed several good chances to do this, but if Mirage was to get a remake, why not ship it with a new trailer for the game, telling stories on that map that people can relate to? It would be a great way of getting players invested in the new map, and the new custom skins which will no doubt ship with it. What do you think?